What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another Minimal Devlog number It is Monday, the 10th of the 10th, and I've got a game due in 6 days. Here's what I've got so far. Been doing some line rendering, so we've got some cool stuff like that going on. Very nice. We've also got this box here. Nice little play control moving around. And that's about it. This isn't going to really be a game. It's going to be more of a tech demo, but I'm going to take some of the complaints from the last game and kind of just polish it up. I'm really just going to be working on boring stuff. It's also kind of fun at the same time because it needs to get done. Like, what's a game without a main menu, right? What's a game without serialization? What's a game that doesn't open on half of people's computers because they don't have some kind of like D3, D11 debug DLL sitting around somewhere and it's just throwing a seg fault? So that's what I'm going to be doing. These are basically my priorities. So polish main menu, fix the debug build crash, that would be great, and just getting some settings right. So those are the big few things that I want to work on. If I can manage to bang those out nice and quickly, we'll see how we go. We can move on to some polish stuff, and I'm basically just going to be making a super juiced up player controller with some solid jump code, particle effects, and wall jumping. So there'll be like a particle system and stuff. But anyway, there's no time to lose. 6 whole days. Let's get started. The goal for today is going to be the main menu. Time to learn about coroutines. Let's get it. I have no idea how useful these are going to be. I have a hunch they're going to be very useful, but I also have a hunch that they can take you out to the back of the shed and shoot you in the back of the head. You ever have those moments of just questioning your entire existence? That's what I'm having right now. So the issue that I'm running up into, I'll do something very simple, like fade the opacity of the entire UI element, right? And so I'm using Ryan's Telescope UI, which is lovely, right? But it's pretty immature in the sense that there's no docs on it. I have to figure out how all this works just by reading the header files, which is doable, and then it's like, all right, well, I have an opacity that I want to pass to just all the UI elements at once. So I can do a cool animation fade in, but it's like, how do I do that? Can I even do it? Does it exist within a solution that Ryan has done? So now it's like, all right, well, I'm just going to dive into the source and figure this out for myself. But then it's like, well, why don't I just use ImGUI? Because, you know, it's a mature immediate mode UI that lots of people have used it before. I'm relying on someone else to solve the problems for me, therefore I get blocked by something, right? But every single time I run into this issue of like, bro, why am I here? What am I doing? Why don't I just go use Godot or something? Every single time I come out the other end like, no, just stick to your guns, just keep putting your head down and working and it'll be good long term. That's what I always come to. I do believe that this is going to be beneficial for me long term. In fact, I guarantee that it will be. Because if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be here doing this still. I would have switched to using Unity ages ago. And I've tried that and I was like, no, this doesn't feel right. And at the end of the day, game dev is just hard. No matter where you go, you're going to have issues. And I feel like me trying to think of like, all right, maybe I should go use ImGUI. It's just a way of me running away from a hard problem. So every time I run into this issue, it's like, homie, go take a nap. All right, literally the only issue that I'm having right now is that I can't change the opacity. And I know how to change the opacity. And I can do it like this. Hold up. Another day, another dollar, baby. All right, so I've spent some time to actually figure out what this project is going to be. I mean, I kind of did that earlier, but I now have a really solid idea of what this project is and the whole purpose of it. And I've got a name. It's called Backbone because it's literally just going to be the backbone for my future games, right? So this is really just focusing on shippability. Oh, I've just found the mother of all resources on coroutines. Holy fuck. It's funny because the whole reason that I got into coroutines was from watching Randy Gall talk about them in his Qt framework, but I just didn't think to actually find the docs that he has. And it's goddamn amazing. And it's just right here. And then he's linked out to this one here as well. And it's like how to implement action sequences and cutscenes. And then that's like a big fucking thing. It's like, oh, yes, bro. This is exactly what I fucking needed. So I've been on a little bit of an adventure trying to find a new IDE. I tried out 10x, was instantly like, nope, I can't use this because it doesn't have an integrated debugger. Yes, it syncs with Visual Studio or Remedy BG, but then you're just like tabbing in between debugger and not debugger. That's stupid. If I want to do that, I would still be using 4Coder, right? By the way, that's the whole reason I switched to Visual Studios, because debugging. And then I was like, okay, well, what about CLine? CLine has an integrated debugger. Let me go try that out. Fiddling around the build, trying to get that set up. I was like, yeah, this can be used. But I could also just keep using Visual Studio because there's nothing wrong with it. I've landed exactly where I started. Yeah, look, Visual Studio is just goated. There's nothing else to say, really. It's got the best debugger. That's about it. Yes, maybe it's a little bit slower here and there, but all in all, it gets the job done. And the amount of effort required to switch to a new editor and make that home, like CLine, would be the equivalent amount of effort if I were to just stay in Visual Studio and figure out how to make this better, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to understand build configurations so I can use the thing a little bit better. And I'm just trying to do a reformat of my project so it's a little bit more cozy. But yeah, I'm just sitting here chomping away on some cold pizza. Life's good. I've just started using this awesome thing, Brain FM. This is absolutely amazing. Words cannot describe how much better this is than just listening to a playlist or listening to the lo-fi radio or something. Wow. I just dropped the nastiest shit. Good morning, gamers. Guess who fixed the startup crash for everyone? So it turns out that initializing D through D11 with debug flags in a release build isn't a good thing to do. Who knew that actually compiling in release mode would be good for shipping? Wow. So that's all fixed, and I've been hard at work over the last few days. Probably spending way too much time on this, but I got a really cool animation system up and running. Wow. Ooh. Ooh. And we got a menu screen. It's very nice. Yay. Now, I'm very proud of this animation system. It's very lightweight, so I might even be able to upload it to GitHub. Like, this is literally the entire thing right here. It's just a single .h file. And I also got coroutines set up. So that was the menu sequence that you just saw. And man, these feel absolutely amazing to work with. Like, you just go like, wait for seconds, and then we can like wait for the end of the animation, and just, it's literally just like a recipe book. There's an absolutely beautiful resource that I came across for coroutines by your boy Randy Gall, the man, the myth, the legend, in his Qt framework. Absolutely amazing docs, so I would highly recommend checking this out. It feels like they're a good replacement to the kind of like switch state machines that I would normally do, which I guess is really evident from this. Like, this would have been like a big fucking switch statement otherwise, but it's like literally so goddamn tight now. Like, that's the entire menu sequence. So you can do some really cool stuff with it. Actually, I'll probably upload the coroutine header that I got as well if you want to use coroutines in C. So I'll leave a link to all of that, the resources, everything. Just scroll down the description, they'll be there. Wow, Obsidian just went through an update and now they've got inbuilt sliding panes with tab stacks. That's pretty cool. For all y'all wanting an Obsidian review, I ain't got much to show you now. That was really my entire gimmick, so it's now integrated into Obsidian. Nonetheless, I'm still gonna show you a list of the plugins I have. Some noteworthy ones. Would highly recommend Periodic Notes. That's like the most important one in this entire thing. Getting the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly notes down pat is absolutely essential. OmniSearch is absolutely great. Very, very powerful search. Kanban for the Trello task Kanban board thing. Excalibur for the Blackboard. That's about it, really. I'm sure one day I'll make a video on a comprehensive overview of my entire workflow for it, so let me know if you'd like to see that down in the comments below. Alright, so I've pretty much finished all of the core stuff. I've got like today and tomorrow. Not a whole lot of time for polish, but I mean, this entire project is basically one big polish. Like I just spent like 2 or 3 days working on the main menu and getting that feeling good with animations. So I guess that was polish. I mean, not really, because you kind of need a splash screen and main menu, right? Like it just does so much for the feel of the game. It's crazy. It feels like an actual kind of nice polished experience now, which is really amazing. Which you can argue if that's core or polish, but let's not. So I've got 2 days. I reckon I can easily bang out the particle FX today, hopefully. I haven't done a particle system in ages, but it's basically like pixel simulation, but floating point. And then polish, probably won't get around to doing like the sandbox platforming thing. I got my work cut out for me. Brain FM is cranking. All set. Let's fucking go. Okay, next, I'm doing a bit of research on particle systems, and I feel like these are some very apt, wise words.
So what I'm going to do, again, and we say this very often on Handmade Hero, I like to say it very, very often, don't overthink it. You just want to make the simplest thing first. Right now, you know, like especially out there, you've never seen a particle system before. Don't go overthinking it. Just go, what is the bare minimum thing I would need to do to get something on the screen? That's what you focus on, and then we build from there, right?
Amen, brother. Man, he feels so slow on normal speed.
We start with something simple. We start with something you understand.
Introduction to particle systems, baby. Let's go. I feel like I do this a lot, and it's like, it's so tempting to just sit here and try to like preempt the entire API or endpoint for the particle system. I'm like, oh, all right, so I want particles. Do I want it to be a linked list? Do I want to like shove them in an emitter, loop over all the emitters, all that kind of stuff? But it's like, no, why don't we just destruct? Position, velocity, color, make a list of particles, render it to the screen, then go from there. I find it so bloody easy to get caught up in overthinking the entire thing and like, just sitting here and just like thinking out the entire thing in my head. But that's not even based on reality because I'm just churning it over in my mind. So I need to actually like just go and do simple and then expand little piece by piece by piece. I found myself overdoing the animation API quite a bit. It took a little bit longer than it needed to because I was kind of like sitting here trying to preempt the design without any like real usage codes. So that was kind of silly of me. Same with the coroutine. I was like sitting here, I was like, maybe I should like wrap up the mini coroutine and like wrap it up into a struct and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like this comment kind of sums it up nicely. Who the fuck cares though? Why shouldn't I just get it up and running first? I'm literally just watching Handmade Hero in my break. 24/7, I'm going to absolutely eat, shit, and breathe game development. It is actually the best idea ever. I don't know why I didn't think of doing this sooner, just watching the entirety of Handmade Hero all the time. Like this is so topical to what I'm doing at the moment. Like it's literally particle simulation as well from scratch. There's so much good stuff in here. Alrighty, particle system is finished. Take a look at this. Wow. Look at that. Oh my god. I'm not a very good artist when it comes to doing the actual particles just yet, but I'm sure I'll get a lot better at that with time. Let me show you how goddamn easy this whole thing was and how simple it is. So this is pretty much the entire structure. You've got an emitter, and those emitters just spawn a bunch of particles. Classic, right? Just got an array of emitters each frame, so this is how you make an emitter. That's it, very, very tight. We loop over the emitters each frame, and we take the frequency of the emitter, and we just spawn a bunch of particles, right? Now the thing is, how you define the particle effect is in the emitter you have a kind of callback function, is where all of the particles get authored. So this is the main menu emitter. That's just doing the background effects of the nice atmospheric particles that are rising up in the background. It's that bad boy, and then you got the jump particle, and then the landing particles. It's all very, very tight and lovely. And then this is the update code. Just does all the integration and stuff. And you got the rendering here as well, and it's all pretty goddamn schmick. Managed to get that done in a day. That was relatively easy. That's the particle system all sorted.
There's a couple more polishings that I want to get in. That's the end of the day today, though. So I've got the entirety of tomorrow, and I've got to have the build up on itch by the end of tomorrow.
Okie dokie, so today I'm finally getting some player controller stuff done. Now, if you'll recall, if you're an OG, end of last year, I think, when I was still working on Arcane, this was like the last thing that I was doing. I was trying to do like a rework of the player controller before I realized that I just need to like go and make some other games first, right? But now we're back here, back doing a solid player controller and really just learning how to do it properly. I've got some solid resources in here on like the general broad strokes of how to make a controller feel good. But right now I'm just looking at the fundamentals of like actually implementing it, the equations of motion. There's some calculus involved, but it's nothing I haven't done before. It's still pretty simple, but I still just want to get like a broad overview of this through this. I'll like link all of this down in the description, by the way. I'll just link to this page, which will have absolutely everything. There. Got my coffee for the day. We're cranking. We're keeping it simple. And it's the final day of working on Backbone. It's got to be shipped by the end of the day, which I'm confident I can do. Let's get cracking. Man, I actually cannot believe how dumb I have been with not looking at any of the handmade stuff. There's so much good stuff in here, and I've only just realized it now. I've been telling people to go watch Handmade Hero for years, but I've never actually gone and really watched much of it myself beyond like the first like 10, 20 episodes or so. Because for some reason in my mind, like I saw the first 10, 20 episodes, I was like, oh, this is just working with Win32. And I like extrapolated that out into the entire thing, but no, there's actually game stuff in here, which out loud makes a lot of sense. But for some reason, I just haven't gone over and looked at the good episodes like this, which, 43. What I've literally been doing is I'll just Google something and then put handmade at the end, and it'll give me like an episode of what I'm after. That's what I did with the particle simulation yesterday, and that's what I'm doing with the kind of like player movement today. Why didn't I do this sooner? I could have saved I'm actually so pissed at myself for not doing this sooner. Fuck. Wow. I am dumb. All right, rant time. I have this compulsion of hitting a wall with something, not understanding it, and then thinking that that understanding can be solved by just like going elsewhere, going up a level instead of down a level, if that makes sense. So for example, when I was working with UI the other day, I kind of had like a fucking mental breakdown of like, man, the telescope UI module is kind of like incomplete and I need to figure out how to extend it. But then I was just like, okay, well, why don't I just go grab something that's complete, like I'm GUI, right? But then the effort of going to grab I'm GUI, switching to I'm GUI, learning I'm GUI is the exact same amount of effort of me just learning how to do UI from scratch and interpreting what Ryan's already done with the telescope UI layer and just extending that inline. The exact same thing happened the other day with math. I was like, oh, this telescope math doesn't have what I want. Maybe I'll just go use handmade math and pull that in. But it's like the solution to the problem isn't up a level using someone else's existing solution. It's dropping down a level, actually figuring out what I need, solving the problem. It's a million times faster. That is a really goddamn important lesson that I've learned this week. And I'm so glad that I'm here just actually biting the bullet and figuring out how to do shit instead of thinking that all my problems will be solved if I just were to go use someone else's implementation. Because if you extrapolate out that thinking, then why aren't I just up in Godot or Unity or Unreal Engine just doing that way, right? There's a reason I'm down here. It's so I can learn this shit and figure out how it goddamn works. Yes, it takes a little bit longer. It doesn't even take a bit longer. That's the thing. It doesn't take a bit longer. The amount of effort it requires to learn an existing solution is equivalent to the amount of effort it takes to learn how to do it from scratch and do the simple thing from scratch yourself. That's the thing. That's why I'm here. That's the whole reason I'm not using an engine. It's because it's easier from scratch. It actually is. The solution to the problem lies downwards, not upwards. Asterix, it can be very easy to spiral down into this never-ending thing, because it's like, I don't really like the operating system I'm on. I'm gonna go make my own operating system, right? And it's just like this endless thing of, yes, do stuff from scratch, but do the stuff from scratch that actually matters. There's always gonna be a black box somewhere. There's always gonna be a layer which you're like, all right, I'm not gonna go below this. And you need to find that layer and then just take that as a given and go from there, right? And it's a delicate dance of finding out what matters and what doesn't matter. And there is no easy way to get good at that. It just takes time, practice, effort, energy, ass in chair, get into work. Let's get this day started, baby. Okie dokie, she's been zipped up, ready to rumble, bugs fixed, game complete. Game. And it is up on itch. Very nice. The backbone of my future games is complete. Another one down. If you would like to support me and my projects, then I'll leave a link to the coffee down in the description below. It's of course not necessary whatsoever, but would go a long way in helping me to keep on keeping on. Anyway, I've got my coffee here. Gonna go edit this video real quick and move on to the next project. I have no idea what the next game will be, but we will figure that out in the next video. In the meantime, make sure you're keeping it simple, and I'll see you when I see you.